YouTuber Logan Paul in the news once again, the controversial thing he said on his podcast.
Yes, that's right. Last week he claimed that he was going to go gay for March, man-only March, as if going gay is a choice.
Well, I'm not too sure about that one. We'll get more into it here shortly.
Welcome to the Impaulsive Postcast, the official Impaulsive after show. This one's a little bit of a departure from our current format. This is a pre-show for his apology podcast coming up tomorrow, Monday. Yep. As you gathered from the intro, or as you probably already know if you're a Paul head, last week Logan Paul didn't post at all any episodes. He passed it off as if he was just getting his tonsils taken out, which he had hinted that he was going to do, but he got his tonsils out and he's like, "Oh, guys, I can't talk." It seemed like he was just trying to buy time to figure out how to respond to the backlash. And now, yesterday, on Saturday, he posted a tweet saying on Monday he's going to have an episode that's all about LGBTQ issues. And he posted a little clip. So it's just when he got in trouble for Suicide Forest, he posted that documentary Suicide Beer tomorrow.
I think that he didn't want to pull a 2018, so he just didn't want to respond immediately.
Yeah,
because it was almost like the annual Logan Paul thing.
Yeah. So here we are. We're here in sunny Burbank, the first sunny day in a while. And speaking of having a bad week for Logan, it was rainy all week here in LA. A rare week of just constant rain. But you know who did love it? These oranges. So we're going to pick a couple fresh rangs for the pod.
Oh, these ones are nice up here.
So, here. At the one thing that Zach and I were surprised about is we did our Impaulsive Postcast last week, and we didn't mention anything about the man-only March joke. We weren't woke enough, I guess, to realize that was problematic. What he said.
We kind of glazed over it. We thought that we're just that's just kind of a dumb joke, which they've been doing a lot of dumb jokes on the podcast thus far, which honestly I appreciate. It's that's a little bit of their personality that we didn't get to see before on on the vlogs.
I thought we were saying whenever they said we are doing man only March, we're going gay for a month, only dating men, I thought, okay, that's a joke because you can't just go gay. It's not a choice, and that's kind of what's funny about that idea in the first place. Not that it's even that funny. It's whatever. It seemed like a passing joke. And then in addition to that, I guess that's it.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting a lot of heat. I
just thought it was I didn't think they were really going to do it. Did you think that they ever had plans to actually do man-only March?
No, I think it was just something they said, and just to make a quick dumb joke, just to try to fill up just to make a funny moment and entertain.
I think they may have said it to each other before that moment, but I don't think it was ever really a thing they were going to do.
I think that it may have been a joke that they did make because they're we're going to go sober vegan January, and then I think they did
February was what was it? It was something about just going all out, fall on your face up. February or something.
Yeah, it was basically get drunk and get fucked up on all February.
Yeah. The other thing that I was thinking too, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, is if they the idea that you would actually take time to check if you're gay. There is the idea that you you're gay when you're born. If you're gay, and that's it. It's not a choice. But I would say, and I think I know, people don't actually know that they're gay, and they have to go through a time of exploration and questioning to confirm whether they are or not. And so the concept of trying out identities, I don't know, it's not totally
helpful, and
it may be helpful in destigmatizing
and proactive.
Yeah, it may be helpful in destigmatizing curiosity and like trying it out, because our friend Evan, who's bisexual, he told us that he was in the closet for most of his life and didn't realize it. He said it took him a long time to figure it out, because we live in a culture that is, being gay is a stigma, and so you think like, it couldn't be me, I can't be a gay person. And so I don't know. Yeah, I'm not trying to like dig Logan out of the hole, but I would say that you don't know you're gay. I don't think that you absolutely do know, and in some ways having a manly march could have been beneficial, maybe, but maybe not. Look, I'm sorry if I'm defending Logan here, and I shouldn't.
I mean, but he is under that microscope, and it's like, once again, YouTuber Logan Paul in the news again. People are just waiting for him to make a mistake. So I don't know. You were saying you were watching some Eric Andre and how offensive it is, and
yeah, dude.
Yeah, and the fact that Logan Paul just said one thing, I don't know. I guess it all goes back to, well, this is his audience. His audience is on YouTube, and like he has a responsibility. And like Eric Andre is on like a television show which
airs at midnight. Yeah,
I mean, but like, and I guess you can't watch it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I said. I don't want to be like, it's a different time. The culture's getting to what is it? PC.
The culture's got their panties in a bunch.
But all right,
I'm probably gonna get buried for that one. Fuck.
Nah.
YouTuber Zach Manning lose again.
So I don't know.
Love that.
I want to say I don't know. You were saying that PewDiePie basically said what we're saying, which
yeah, he was just like,
I feel bad for. I just feel bad for defending anybody or saying I like anybody that has had any controversy.
I'm not even allowed to say I like PewDiePie.
You're not allowed to say like.
Crucified. I mean, he's the number one YouTuber. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of miss his whole controversy. I've only known him as like this.
Oh,
person.
You've only known post controversy PewDiePie.
I've only known him as like this like kind of dumb news reporter, which is just like, it was entertaining to me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Should we have a seat here?
Should we sit down? I feel like we should sit on the other side so we get these flowers in the background. Maybe.
Let's just split these chairs.
All right. So this is going to be a pretty short episode. It's just kind of, I guess now we will. Let's just talk about, what do you think that, I don't know, what you think this episode's going to absolve Logan of the offense?
No, because it's already blown up so much that is honestly nothing he can do at this point. First, I think that he is gonna be over it, but no one else will be. Like, other people will still be really pissed.
Here's like a kind of thing that I've been thinking about is like, what if he's like, I mean, now that he's made the mistake or whatever, and it's blown up and people are all loud and talking about it, I think they're going to tune into the ep, and then they're probably going to say some pretty pause things. So in the end, I think it might be a net win for him, the controversy.
You think this is just more Maverick merch?
Oh, you think he's gonna come out with like a LGBTQ Maverick like
Line.
rainbow line?
Honestly,
Dude,
yeah.
I'd buy a rainbow line.
I think he would. I think he actually is. That's a really good guess.
Frick, man.
If he hasn't thought of that yet, we just gave him the idea. So, guys, what's up?
Be a Maverick.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not gonna say that.
Okay. Anything else? Anything you're looking for? When you kept seeing all this week that there was just no new Impulsive episode Monday, and then Wednesday rolled by, no episode. Friday, he said on Wednesday,
Double
sorry
episode.
guys, tonsils, sorry, we'll have 2 episodes Friday. Friday went by, nothing. And we've been complaining a lot because Logan's been posting way too much content, but honestly, the drought has been depressing. That plus the rain,
Yeah,
my life has
plus
sucked.
the rain. I mean, you only got views on Thursday, so which honestly doesn't come out until at night these days, which is annoying as hell. Just release it at like noon.
Yeah, it's kind of starting to be like David's vlogs. Like,
Yeah.
they're supposed to be released Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? Is that his vlog schedule?
Yeah.
But they'll show up like the Monday vlog will show up Tuesday at like 5 a.m.
And it's like you can record the fucking podcast like a couple days before. Like you don't.
No, everything's last minute. That's the vlogger style. That's the Casey style. That's what authenticity is. Authenticity equals impulsivity.
Speaking of impulsive,
Yeah.
subscribe, guys. Leave us a like. Let us know who your favorite YouTuber is, who you're watching right now. If you've watched any of our episodes, which one you liked, and yeah, hit the little bell.
So yeah, should we do our views teeny weeny podcast?
Yeah.
Views teeny weeny.
Dun, dun,
Pod podcast. Views teeny weeny. Pod podcast. Views. Welcome back, weenies. This is a Views teeny weeny podcast where we talk about the David Dobrik, Jason Nash podcast Views.
On this episode, I can't even remember what happened on this episode.
They talked to Jonah a lot, and they talked about how Jonah was like trying to pitch this movie, and he was trying to get a word with Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
Or
and
Judd
Apatow.
Judd Apatow. Sorry, confused him.
He was gonna go to.
He wanted to go to Judd Apatow to like talk to him about his movie. He just wanted to like basically time with the master.
Yeah, and he got in a big screaming match with Jason because Jason was talking about his movie and how hard it was for him to get it done, and like they're like, your movie sucked, and Jason got mad. And then they just started yelling at each other. There was never been that much commotion on an episode. I was listening to it. I was like, oh my God, they're just fucking fighting.
It is funny because it is. I recognized and cringed at the perfectionist sort of attitude that Jonah has about his. Oh, dang, to be here. That Jonah has about his movie. He's like, every joke's going to be honed. Every word,
Right.
Everything's going to be super perfect. And I'm like, whoo, I don't know, man. This movie's going to blow.
Yeah, that was honestly too much. Like, he was. I appreciate his enthusiasm, and it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a vlogger
Yeah.
look on it.
It's kind of a classic Hollywood thing, just like sell your own shit.
He's from here.
Yeah.
So.
He was just selling his own shit so hard that I think he's going to be paralyzed by like this need to make the perfect movie, and he's never going to make it. Because like, I've had the same attitude about things I've wanted to make, and guess what? You never make them.
Yeah. Speaking of need to do this, need for speed stick, relating to Gillette. This is kind of not really on topic, but you saw the commercial?
Yeah, I saw the commercial, and let me just
Since
say,
we're speaking of like just like sexuality and like, sociology, I thought I'd drop this in here and ask you what your opinion was.
I think Gillette sucks. I think Procter & Gamble sucks. I think the idea of brands trying to act like they're suddenly...
I got 2 things for you, right? Procter Gamble.
Yeah, I just think, I think that their message was right. I just don't think that they need to say anything.
Yeah, proctor this.
Did you see the commercial, though?
Yeah, I saw it.
I thought that was the part with the guys, the infinite grills, you know, where they're like, boys will be boys, boys be boys, will be boys, will be
What
boys.
about it?
I just think that was, like, kind of cool looking.
Oh, yeah. It was weird. It made me uncomfortable. Personally. But I was just like, oh, wow, this is just a lot.
And in the end, too, I guess it's like going back to like the Logan Paul thing. They were just trying to provoke a conversation, or at least that's what they said, and they did, and we're having it. So again, just like freaking Logan Paul won, Procter and Gamble won.
God damn it! I guess you're right. I mean,
we're talking about it.
Yeah,
our podcast has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Nah, I wanted to talk about it. I thought it was important to talk about. I thought we'd probably get shit if we didn't talk about it. We're just covering our ass right now.
Yeah.
But
nah, I don't know. What do you think? One thing I think about is like, yeah, I do think I pretty much hate dudes too. Like all my friends that I grew up with that were like a little bit too manly, I kind of stopped being friends with because they like to hit each other a lot. They liked sports. In general, I wouldn't consider myself a very masculine man. But I do wonder what of those traits that are considered toxic, are culturally created, and which ones are actually some manifestation of some biological urge, you know? Like a behavior that comes deep from our brainstem, you know?
Yeah, it's hard.
And that's what a lot of those guys argue, is they're like, you're trying to phase out all the things that make us a man. Those like, you know what I mean, right? Like a lot of the things that they're saying that the commercial is labeling as toxic are actually biological traits that we can't help or something. You know, we're less emotional.
Right.
We're more we express ourselves with physicality more. And I do just wonder how many of those things are cultural myths and how many of those things are biological, like people say.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't want to say. I can't say without giving too much of myself away.
What do you mean?
We're
underneath this is not very masculine backdrop.
Like I almost don't want to know how much control. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I can't give you an answer here because I don't know.
We don't know. This is nature versus nurture, which is like, that's the reason why it's like a famous phrase, is because it's a debate that's hard to really pin down. And I guess the argument that right now and that Gillette's making and most people are making is that it's nurture, that toxic masculinity and a lot of those traits are nurtured into us and are a result of culture.
I mean, I think it is. It's got to be culture, but I mean, just because it's culture doesn't mean it's not like nature too.
Yeah. You know, the thing I heard, I listened to this really long.
I think the fact that it is cultural makes it. Like,
yeah, but then so if you say like culture is nature is kind of what you're arguing, and it's like, so then that means that our culture, we can change our culture, we can make new stories, we can, and so that means
I believe that, but like also people are just, it depends how you're. Yeah, I guess you could change culture, but like good luck.
Yeah, the one thing I've heard is,
I don't know, like you're just telling people to change the way that they like raise their kids, basically, completely, and like everybody learns from their parents who did stuff wrong. Yeah. So it's cyclical.
You can make the argument too, like, just if you actually think that these traits, these masculine traits, are biological, then you shouldn't care if we're asking you to raise your kids differently, because those biological traits will manifest themselves either way if they're like part of their DNA.
Right.
So their fear of, well, if I don't raise my boy this way, he won't be this way, sort of admits the fact that these traits are culturally taught. But but here's the crazy thing. I've heard this lady who was just talking about like how gender comes about. She was a scientist that studies like developing fetuses and stuff. She's talking about all like when this high protein hormone comes in, then this the genitals form, etc. She's going into the details of it about like all the different ways things can be.
Do you think
not exactly black and white?
Do you think that like the fact that like, you know, mom and dad maybe ate like a lot of McDonald's while they were pregnant with us, like that gave us some more like masculine and toxic?
Who knows? Who knows? I think that there's like probably a butterfly effect with like diet and environment and all kinds of things with this stuff. I don't know. But this scientist said that she has talked to parents who try to raise their kids gender neutral, you know?
Right.
And she has this one story about how this lady at a conference had a comment. She's like, I try to raise my kids gender neutral. We don't have weapons in the house. We don't have, you know, all the colors are neutral. I control what they watch, et cetera, et cetera. But what do you say when my little son, I think her son was like something like 3 or 4, I fed him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he bit it into the shape of a gun and pretended to shoot his sister. Where did that behavior come from? And there's that thing that parents say, like, little boys love to play with trucks and little girls want to play with babies. And you do wonder, it starts pretty early that they have these urges for these slightly different playtime activities. And so that's why I have to, like, hand it to the people that say there's some biological element. But you could also argue that, like, babies see the world and they see men and women behaving certain ways from the moment they're born, and so they're starting to learn those gender roles very early on. But it's hard to say whether or not the behaviors are biological or which behaviors and how much of it.
I wonder if, like, you know, your mom was like, you know, like a contractor that was like out building houses and your dad stayed home. Like, would that have an effect?
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure that so many people have made this, taken this exact question.
You know, but that's why we're talking about it here. It's just talking about the issues of the day here on the Impaulsive Postcast pre-show.
This is probably the most intellectual conversation we've had on the podcast, so I hope you sticked around.
Sticked around? You said sticked instead of stuck.
I mean, I realized that after the fact, but it sounded all right.
It sounded all right. You had to forgive. I guess we really rag on the guys a lot for saying fake words in the podcast, but you just sometimes you just say wrong words sometimes.
I have sympathy. Yeah, no, I said it. I'm like, yeah, I mean,
you know it's wrong, but your mouth just says things sometimes.
Right, and you don't. And if you're in mid conversation, it's better just leave it,
let it go.
Yeah. And everyone will probably say something to you later, like, you know, like, oh yeah, like you sticked around, huh? Like.
All right, glad you guys sticked around. We will be back. I don't know if we're going to do... I guess we'll probably just do a podcast next weekend that we'll talk about Monday's show. And
depending if Monday's juicy, we'll talk. We'll do it.
We'll be back soon.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around. Take it easy, fam. Peace.